So you failed an ACCA exam. It's not the end of the world. And we can give you 4 top tips to maximize your chances of passing next time, including some additional resources.
Okay, so first tip is to really reflect and understand what it is that went wrong. Was it time management? Was it some exam technique issue? Was it a knowledge gap? Did you do enough study? And was that study the right balance? Did you do enough question practice? Or did you perhaps overly focus on knowledge rather than application? Now, you may know the answer to these questions already. But if you don't, it's worth spending some time considering it and talking it through with your training provider if you have worked with one, or your peers, or if not, having to think about someone else, Tom or I, for our papers, to have a chat to try to identify what it is that went wrong. Because critical is going to be, what are you going to do differently next time? And if you don't know what the problem was, how do you know what to do differently?
And that leads me to the second tip. And if you've concluded that you've just been unlucky, go back and reflect again. It's not a question of luck. The second tip for me is about mock examinations. Doing mock examinations. Doing mock examinations under time. Doing mock examinations on the ACCA practice platform. Getting them marked. Getting the feedback. Understanding what you did right so you can do that again. Understanding what it's like to work under pressure, understanding how you can improve each time. Recently, the ACCA did a research project where they looked at how students had been using the ACCA practice platform. And they found that students who had done a full exam before the actual exam on the practice platform, pass rates for those students were up 12%.
12% is huge, isn't it?
That is massive.
Yeah. So doing the mock's really important, and getting it marked, because an expert giving you guidance on what you did well, carry on, and what you need to work on, had you done this, this and this, you would have scored 3 more marks, adds so much value. It can be really difficult to self-diagnose, particularly with the more written ACCA exams.
And it's difficult sometimes for your mood, because you feel a failure, you feel that you've come down, and I think that leads on to our third tip, doesn't it?
Third tip is about mindset, right? So if you have failed, as Tom said, you can feel really down in the dumps, right? Feel negative, I've got to pick myself up, I've got to do this paper again, I've already practiced all these questions, you just feel low, and going into your resit with that negative mindset is not a conducive frame of mind for learning. Right? Your barriers are down. You've got to approach it with enthusiasm, positivity, gusto. And how can you get to that frame of mind when you're feeling low? Well, sometimes it's about doing something different. It's about reaching out to your peer group who are on your study support sites, or on a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group, and getting a bit of moral support. Maybe it's having a week or 2 break so you can come back with a fresh mind. Or it could be working with a different training provider, someone who's going to give you more enthusiasm and more motivation to help you to pass.
If you think you're going to fail again, it's probably true. If you think you're going to pass, it's probably true. There's a really important mindset. It's like professional sport. Yeah, you've got the tools. You can pass this exam. You can pass this exam. That's the mindset that you need to have.
So that's 3 of the tips. What was your 4th one, Tom?
Well, we want to talk about resources. And one of the resources, the best resource that we've talked about already, is the ACCA practice platform. There's exams on there, and the ACCA have provided an awful lot of resources. So please fully utilize those resources. To do an exam on the ACCA practice platform, making it your home. You know, when a football team plays at home, when a sports team plays at home, they're more likely to win. So you need to make the ACCA practice platform your home. It's a clunky environment. You know, that spreadsheet functionality, it's not Excel. that word response area, it's not as good as Microsoft. I know that, you know that, the ACCA knows that. I don't care. Everyone's in the same boat. You've got to get comfortable with the way the windows move around, with the way the system works. Make the practice platform your home. Do mocks on the practice platform.
Yeah.
That's a really important resource.
Yeah,
what other resources are out there, Ben?
Yeah, so practice platform number 1. Number 2 for me is the examiner's report. Annoyingly, they're only every 6 months, but they are a goldmine. They are full of insight from the examiner telling you what good students did well on certain questions, and more importantly, where students failed on a question, what is it that went wrong for them. So going through those examiner's reports they are full of useful tips, so make full use of those.
And we've been talking here about tips which are applicable across the board for all of the ACCA exam papers. But there's a special one that Ben's got and I've got, which is podcasts. I love podcasts, don't you, Ben?
I mean, it's probably the most fun thing I do in my job. I really enjoy recording them. My podcast is about auditing, so it's useful if you're doing AA or AAA, and it's taking real-world events and discussing them from an auditing perspective. And I get loads of students getting in touch with me, not students that I've taught, but students more widely saying, that was so helpful, built my understanding of the subject, and meant I was better able to deal with the real exam. So look mine up if you're doing auditing.
And mine is about IFRSs, so particularly relevant for SBR, but also some there for FR. And they're short, they're 10 minutes, they're talking, explaining about the issue. And they're available freely on Spotify. They're very, very easy to find.
Yeah, just look for our names.
Yeah. I've had students tell me that they listen to them when they're driving, when they listen to them in the gym, when they listen. I've even had one tell me they listen to it in the shower.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that was TMI.
Okay. Mine tell me someone listens to them while they're sleeping. Apparently, I'm very good for sending you to sleep.
So, if you want any further information, support particularly about SBR from me,
or AAA from me,
then please get in touch. Probably the best way is through LinkedIn or through our website.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.